Hi everyone, my name is Anna Martha Ayala and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I teach you all the degree theory by the late Nikola Stojanovic and how to apply it when reading charts. As a reminder, the degree theory is based on Western astrology using the Placidus house system. It will not work with any other form of astrology. Now, today's video is one of the viewers requested that I do this video about two gentlemen. One is Eminem, who is an American singer. He's a rapper. And the other one is Henry Cavill, who is a British actor. So I wanted to share with you their birth charts. Also, as a reminder, I don't know any of these people before I do the chart, and the information that I get is based on Wikipedia. So for those of you who don't know who Eminem is, he is this gentleman right here. So like I said, he's an American singer, he's a rapper, and he's very well known, right? He's credited with popularizing hip hop in middle America and regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time. So what I did is I took his birth chart. Now the viewer knew the time of birth for Eminem, and this person gave it to me. She posted it on one of the comments. Although I don't think that 1104 is his correct time of birth based on what I read in his Wikipedia information, right? And I'm saying this because the MC is at 0 degrees. So this is not an MC of a performer, right? I would think it would be more on the 29th degree, which is the degree of Leo, which is a performer, an actor, somebody that's into show business. And also, according to his write-up, again, on Wikipedia, his father abandoned his mom and him when he was only a year and a half old. So that would make the IC not in Aries, but in Pisces, because the ruler of Pisces is Neptune, and Neptune is in the 12th house, something that's missing, that's lost. So that would be his dad. That's why I think that the time is a little off. But anyway, we're going to work with the time that the viewer gave me and just go from there. So one of the things, and what this person was asking was about his romantic possibilities in the near future. And so let's examine the birth chart first of all. You always use the birth chart for everything. When you compare it to the solar return, when you do transits, when you do progressions, solar arc, I mean, anything that you do, the birth chart is always the level 1. For those of you that are beginners in astrology, that's where we start. Now, he's a Sag ascendant. So the ruler of the chart is Jupiter because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. This axis right here, Sag rising and Gemini descendant, is not one of the best to have, and vice versa. If you have Gemini rising, Sag descendant, it's not a stable relationship line, because this means that as a Sag rising, he's a very moral person, even though I don't think he made a couple of decisions in his life that were not the best as far as the drug abuse and the things that happened in his life, but I won't get into those subjects. But typically Sages, when you're Sag rising, you're very good looking when you are young. And he was. Yeah. And they're like the model type, right? Both for the men and the women. And then as they get older, they get heavier. So if you're Sag rising, be mindful of that. And also Gemini on the descendant. Gemini is always two. So I'm not saying that everybody that has Gemini on the descendant, because it depends on the planets that you have in the house, but most likely you're going to have two relationships that are long term, two marriages. You live together with somebody for a period of time. Again, fifth house is boyfriend, girlfriend, where you spend one weekend at their place, they spend another weekend at your place, you travel together, but at the end of the day, everybody goes to their own apartment or their own home. Seventh house are relationships where, like I said, you do all the fun stuff, grocery shopping, laundry, you go do groceries, you have kids with the person or no kids. That's also, you go on vacation, but at the end of the day, you both live together day in and day out for a period of time, right? That would be a seventh house relationship. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, he has Saturn retrograde in the seventh house. I said, he married the same person twice. And that's exactly what he did. He married his high school sweetheart twice. Now, usually, when you have Saturn in the seventh house, you will marry later in life. But Gemini is a sign of youth, right? So he married young. He faced the responsibilities of marriage at a very young age. But if this was, instead of Gemini, it was any other sign, typically when you have Saturn here, in the seventh house, you marry later than your friends do. Like, the people around you are all getting married and you're still single. All right. So just so you guys know. Also, anything that's retrograde will happen again, according to Nicola, the degree theory. So let's talk about a little bit about what the type of woman that he likes. Venus is the type of woman that he likes. So that's what attracts him uh, to the woman, right? Venus in Virgo is not the best placement because if you know your rulerships, you know that Venus is exalted in Pisces. And so the energy here is not all that great. He could be very picky as far as women are concerned. He could be critical. He could be a perfectionist. Um, but he looks for somebody that's, just plain, a plain person, nothing, not glamorous. Okay, if it were Leo, something that'll like knock your socks off. No. Now Venus in Virgo, he can meet this person at work, Virgo to work, at a medical institution, like at the doctor's, a dietitian, a nutritionist, somewhere where like part of his daily routine he visits, that's where he would find a girlfriend. Now the moon signifies what of the wife would be in emotions and in career. So it's a combination of both of these energies, and the moon is in Aquarius. So, Aquarius is very unique, very different, cold as far as emotions, unless, of course, there's another planet that this woman would have, right? But anyway, so that's what the typical woman that he's looking for. The chart ruler, like I said, is Jupiter because it is the ruler of Sag. Now you can see that it has a square to Mars and a square, these red lines, these two red lines to Pluto. So that means that he was beaten, he was abused when he was a child, the first house. The first few years of his life were rough, unfortunately. And you have both He got beat up, he got abused. This is also uh, an indication that it's also an indication that he has his body recovers pretty quick. He has a strong body as well. So according to Wikipedia, oh, and I wanted to tell you, Sag risings are usually a very optimistic sign, very lucky. And they're people with high morals and integrity for the most part. And you know, when I was reading his thing over here on Wikipedia when it comes to family, I mean, he's a very responsible person in the sense of when it comes to family. And you can see here when he was well, this is 2018, but 2011, let me see here when he was young, except for that, you know, that's not nice. But he was nice, a nice looking man. Now, in his family life, it says, let me see where it's at. He was married twice to Kimberly and Scott. He met Scott in high school while he stood on a table with his friends with his shirt off rapping. Scott and her twin sister had run away from home. They moved in with Eminem and his mother when he was 15 and began an on and off relationship with Scott in 1989. So anyway, it goes on to say that they got married and then they got divorced. They had a baby, which is his only daughter, right? But then Eminem went ahead and legally adopted and was given custody of his sister-in-law's daughter as well as his ex-wife's child from an affair. So that's two kids that don't belong to him that he adopted. And he also raised his younger half-brother, Nathan. So, you know, that says a lot about this person, right? He has good feelings. Now, let's get to the point of how do you determine if you're going to meet someone, right? So, romantically speaking, he has Jupiter that's going to transit his seventh house. So that's always a good indicator. And the seventh house goes from here, 10 degrees of Gemini to Cancer. Let me see if I have 14 degrees. 14 degrees of Cancer. So when Jupiter is transiting your seventh house, that is a good indication that you'll meet somebody. Especially, I think that like when Jupiter meets that Saturn, right? Manifestation, there's a good chance that he can meet someone. Um, let's say the other thing that I saw was that Saturn transiting Saturn is going to trine the vertex here in Cancer at 24 degrees in March of 2025. When your vertex is activated, that's also a potential of meeting somebody, right? And also the solar return for his last birthday, which was October 17th of 2023, the solar return is open to the seventh house. And since the birthday time is off, I think, a little bit, it could be sixth or seventh house, right? But it is open on the seventh house. And the way you know it is because Gemini is on the cusp, you know, it's here in the seventh house. So it's open on the seventh house. And then you see here that Venus is within 3 degrees of the fifth house, which rules boyfriends and girlfriends, right? So but the only thing I don't like, it has that number 8. So he has to be careful with whoever he meets that the person has good intentions. And it is an opposition to Saturn, which is retrograde. Nicola used to say that when planets in the solar return go back to the initial birth chart, and you can see that Venus is in Virgo, and that his natal Venus is in Virgo. That's significant. When the cusp of the ascendant in the solar return is within 3 degrees of the initial or the cusp, whatever cusp that you're looking at, which in this case is the ascendant, it's also significant. So to me, he has a good chance of meeting somebody because this is opened on the seventh house. Venus is within 3 degrees of the fifth house cusp. Now, for the solar return, his energy, his focus is going to be on work because he has the sun, and the focus of the solar return is the sun. Now, Mars is where you put your energy, and it's in work. And then he has the moon also in the sixth house, which could be an indication. I mean, you got Venus going into the fifth, the moon is in the sixth. And where did we say that he could meet this part, a boyfriend, I mean, a girlfriend at work. So I think he has good potential of meeting somebody that's going to be a serious partner. In addition to that, yeah, it's like, but wait, there's more. He has the lunar nodes in Capricorn and Cancer. So that's another part that can happen for him, that when the lunar nodes change, because now in October they're going to go into Pisces and Virgo, right? The eclipses are going to be hitting Pisces and Virgo. And they're going to start, but when the lunar nodes go into Capricorn and Cancer, if he doesn't meet anybody during this solar return year, right? Because I'm thinking maybe he will meet somebody, and then when the nodes go in, if he hasn't met anybody, then he will meet someone that's significant. Could also be, since it's second house, eighth house, your partner's income. Um, that's a good, that's also a good indication that he's going to meet someone that is from a past life, or that it's fated, or that it's destined. It could also be somebody related to business, right? But let's hope that for him, it's more of a romantic thing. So I think there's a good chance that he could do well and meet someone. And I hope he does, because he seems to be a nice person that in his youth didn't make very good decisions as far as the drug use and stuff like that, but anybody can make a mistake. Now, the second gentleman that this viewer wanted me to talk about is this person here, Henry Cavill. And he is a British actor. This viewer has very good taste in men, I must say. Um, anyway, I don't know what the point of asking about him was, because when I looked him up in here, in his family life, it says that a personal life. On May 2021, he announced his relationship with Natalie Viscuso. And in just recently, April 15, 2024, it was announced that they were expecting their first child. So when you go to, and this gentleman is an Aquarius rising at 11 degrees, and the descendant is in Leo at 11 degrees. So, the chances are that he will get divorced, like, he'll have more than one relationship, right? So here the eclipses are happening in the first and seventh house. So in his solar return of last year, you could see Uranus is making a change here in the seventh house. So he's basically committing to this girlfriend that he currently has, because he's going to have a child with her, right? So I don't know what else. I mean, he's already in a relationship, so Usually when you have Uranus come up, and here on the Libra rising is the natural seventh house ruler, right? So we're talking about relationships. There's going to be a change in his relationship status. So he is going to be committed to this woman because they're going to have a baby. Usually, when I see this in a solar return, and I see that Uranus is in the seventh house, this means that if you're single, you are going to meet somebody of seventh house material, right? Again, fifth house is boyfriend, girlfriend. Seventh house is people that we live day in and day out. So, and then if you are married and Uranus shows up in the seventh house, then potentially you can get separated and most likely a divorce will be initiated. Um, so, I don't want to comment on anything else about this gentleman on a romantic level because I think he's set. Hopefully, he will have a happily ever after story with this young lady that he's with, and they're expecting a baby. So I wish them the best. So, I hope that you have learned from this video on how to look and see if somebody's coming into your life. There are other, um, what do you call it? Predictive methods to determine if somebody of significance is going to come into your life. And for astrology to make a prediction, you have to have the rule of three. So we saw this either with transits, with the eclipses, with the lunar nodes, with the solar return for Eminem. And with Cavill, well, he has that Uranus in the seventh house, so there is a change of status for him, and it's that he committed with this young lady to have a baby. So I don't need to say anything else about him or his partner. Um, if you have learned anything from this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, send it to somebody who's also wanting to learn astrology. And if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below, and I can explain whatever it is that you need clarification on. As always, if you would like a chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com, and thank you for watching.